Hi everyone, I'm really excited to be here today. My name's Louise Blanchett and I am currently here presenting from my lounge in Southampton, so please do forgive the surroundings. First and foremost, just want to thank you all for this opportunity to speak to you today. I will be talking to you about what we have to offer from a health and wellbeing perspective at Lloyds Banking Group. My background is I'm an occupational psychologist, really passionate about people's well-being. I'm really excited to be here today. So I will be talking to you about the different health and wellbeing pillars that we have at Lloyds Banking Group and all the services and propositions that we have to offer from a health and wellbeing perspective. So ready to go on to the next slide, please. Great, thank you so much. So in regards to what we have to offer at Lloyds Banking Group, first and foremost, I just want to start by saying that we really care about all of our colleagues' happiness and health. So we are really passionate about ensuring that we have a culture that is empowering our employees, that they feel valued. We really recognise the diversity of our employees and therefore thinking about what we want to offer them in regards to our health and wellbeing proposition. So we encourage a culture of wellbeing and inclusivity. And we have a framework. I guess this is what this slide is trying to present, is we have particular pillars from a health and wellbeing perspective that is our framework that we live and breathe by. So what I'll start with is our health and wellbeing vision and our purpose, which is the statement that you can see within the slide, which is help me bring my best self to work each day by providing health and wellbeing support that is relevant, easy to locate, and then take action. So that is exactly how we want our employees to feel. We want everyone to feel at their absolute best, whatever that means for them. And that will look and feel very different for everyone. So in regards to our pillars, I'll bring this to life a bit by providing a few examples of the sort of content that sits underneath them. So from a life stages and events perspective, this could be anything ranging from looking to start a family, maybe perhaps some of the less fortunate and more challenging topics around being diagnosed with cancer, maybe some health problems. We have a range of information and support that would sit within those topics. It could be things such as divorce and what sort of support we can help you with going through significant life events, recognizing that they will touch every single one of our employees at some point of their career, and therefore recognizing that we need to provide as much support as possible. We've also got topics under healthy minds, such as mindfulness, mental health. We have mental health advocates, which I'll explain a bit more about later on. Healthy finances. This is a really exciting topic at the moment where we're driving through lots of different initiatives, recognizing that we want to promote healthy financial well-being, which means not being multimillionaires and everyone being rich, but it's about how we ensure we get the most of our money. So how do we make our money that we have go further with things thinking about our pensions and our reward schemes? What does Lloyd have to offer? And there's absolutely loads of resources here, thinking about budgeting, our flex plans, our colleague offers. So we've got lots going on in that space at the moment, and we're launching a big campaign that goes live early November, where we've got our supporting charities coming to talk to us, helping educate people within these topics, and really supporting people, help their money go further. So that's really exciting, and looking forward to all of that going live in a couple of weeks. And then we've got healthy bodies, which can sometimes speak for itself, thinking about things like movement, nutrition, again, people that perhaps have disabilities, what support can we offer them, and recognising that everyone's case is very, very unique and different to one another's. So lots of information under that section. And then we've got healthy relationships. So thinking about the relationship you have even with yourself, how do we ensure you feel comfortable and confident to bring your whole self to work, and making sure that we have a culture that is inclusive, that you feel that you can be truly authentic, totally yourself, and how we appreciate and recognize everyone's uniqueness and individualism. And under healthy relationships is things like, how do you have courageous conversations if perhaps things are challenging? And what sort of training do we have in our huge learning and training portfolio that may support you in maybe some more challenging times as well? And healthy work. So what can we do to support you? This is things like agile working. So one thing, if you're home-based, for example, like myself, is how can we be flexible within your working day to really support you and your well-being? So we're doing a lot of experiments in my team, excuse me, at the moment, in thinking about, with the nights becoming darker sooner, can we have longer lunch breaks? Can we flex our working hours? Can we change our shift patterns to support our well-being? Can we go to the gym in the middle of the day because that's when it suits us best? How can we really flex and offer that agility within your working day to suit your well-being needs? So that's really exciting, and we certainly have a very experimental and open culture to things such as that. So that's a quick overview in regards to the range of topics and pillars that we have. So if we can move on to the next slide, that would be great, please. Wonderful. So as well as our pillars, where we've got supporting resources, we've also got a range of offerings. So anything ranging from private medical care with Bupa through to offering access to Headspace. We've got something called an employee assistant program. So recognizing that our colleagues may need some additional support. What we offer with the employee assistant program with Validium is 5 free counselling offerings. So within that, it could be for any reason, absolutely nothing small or large, can influence what you can talk to them about. Anything from financial support and advice all the way through to perhaps if you're having difficulties at work or faced with mental health problems or a big life event that is just a bit too difficult to handle on your own, and it's totally confidential. Your manager doesn't have to know that you're accessing this. Nobody has to necessarily know that you're accessing this. So it's totally confidential, and really wonderful that we can offer the support that may be needed for our employees there. We've also got something called Your Resilience, which has been designed by scientists and is a plethora of various different resources, such as podcast, videos, lots and lots of different topics within Your Resilience, thinking of everything that aligns to all of our pillars. So perhaps you want to check in and work out how to deal best with COVID. Perhaps you're feeling anxious and you can look and educate yourself in regards to what does it mean, what support is available, how can I mitigate some of that anxiety as well. So we're really, really pleased with that offering from Your Resilience, from a company called Helix, and great to work with some scientists where they're helping us build out some bespoke content for Lloyds Banking Group, and that's quite a unique offering that we can offer with that one. And we also have something called mental health advocates. So these are a range of wonderful employees that offer their services. So I'll give an example. I'm actually a mental health advocate. I put my name forward so that I could support my colleagues if I felt that they needed to. And that support is in regards to potentially recognizing signs and being a point of contact if someone's perhaps having mental health problems, and being able to signpost them to the most relevant support. So that might be all of the other things I just suggested. So through Bupa, you may want to go with private counselling. We've got our EAP, which as I just touched on, is the counselling, or we may signpost to your resilience, and a range of different topics as well. So I believe we've got 1,300 volunteers that are mental health advocates across the group now, which is really fantastic and really helping us support that culture where we're recognising that 1 in 4 people do have mental health challenges in their lifetime and experience that. So really great that we are building people and recognizing people that want to support our colleagues, and that we're having conversations about these really, really important topics. So that's just a few examples there that I've pulled out from a range of different offerings that we have within our portfolio, just to bring some of that to life. And there's various other ones, but really conscious of the time restrictions today. So I'll move on to the next slide, please. And this slide is just to demonstrate about our charity partnership, which is with Mental Health UK. As you can see from this slide, that we've raised over £12 million over the course of the length of time we've been with this charity, which is, I believe, 3 years now. So Mental Health UK was actually chosen by our colleagues as a preferred charity. And there's a range of different things that we can get involved in as employees. So a range of fundraising activities. I actually took part in one last year, which was to walk around London. I believe it was 14 kilometres to raise money for Mental Health UK. As I said a moment ago, 1 in 4 people in their lifetime are likely to experience a mental health challenge. So it was really overwhelming, the amount of people that chose this charity. So really recognizing then that this is a extremely important topic, a very important charity, and lots you can get involved in if you're a Lloyds employee. So really was pleased to do that walk myself last year, but certainly wasn't as exciting as some of the other fundraising activities. So some people got to trek across Cambodia to raise money. I believe the year before, a lucky, I think it was 150 people got to walk the Great Wall of China. So lots you can get involved in, especially if this is something you're passionate about. Various fundraising activities, doesn't have to be a walk if that isn't what you want to do. It could be all sorts of different ideas, and we can be quite creative with that. So really proud and really pleased that this is our charity partnership, and hopefully, who knows which one it will be next year and who's chosen next year, but really great to see that we've raised so much money for this particular one. And yeah, ready to move on to the next slide, please. So I just wanted to, I guess, bring to the forefront some reminders for overall wellbeing. And what I will do in a moment is just ask everyone to take part in something. So I think the first thing is to say, especially at the moment with the unprecedented year we've been part of, and I guess the various challenges that we've all faced with COVID, is just to say it's okay not to be okay. And it's great to talk, and if you're not okay, what support is there available? And at Lloyds, we'd like to say we're quite proud in regards to the amount of support that we can offer. So it's just a gentle reminder to say, if you're not feeling great, there's no pressure to feel okay absolutely all the time, every single day. And so that was just a gentle nudge. And then also just another little nudge to say, and ask, I guess, is your mind full? Is it full of information, or are you mindful? So can you sit for moments and take stock of how you're feeling? Bodily sensations? Are you concentrating on your breathing? Can you take a moment not to be caught up in all the thoughts, because there's so much going on this year, and I'm sure your year is looking very different to how you perhaps anticipated, and all these things are being done virtually, and we've been thrusted into a brand new world. So can you take a step away from that, and perhaps do some mindfulness and meditation? So I'm not going to go through all of these reminders of overall well-being, because some of these, you know enough about this, I'm sure, but you probably know enough about needing to get moving and drinking lots of water. So maybe just thinking about bringing out some really random ones that perhaps you'd never thought of. So one, which people in my team think sounds awful, is trying cold showers. So these are just up to 10 seconds. There's something called the Wim Hof method. You may have heard this or tried it, but it's just a quick blast in the morning, really gets the mood boosted. Becoming a lot more difficult now. The winter's drawing in, but just those 10 seconds can really shift your mood, helps with your circulation, helps you deepen your breath. Maybe one for you to try if you're feeling brave enough. And also one I really like is practicing gratitude. So writing down 3 things I'm grateful for every single day, and even on perhaps your more challenging days, it's really great to do that. And there's so many things we can still try and draw upon, even if you feel like it's been the worst day of the year. Is maybe someone called you that day that you hadn't heard from for a while, or you had your favorite food for lunch, or you managed to get out for a walk and get some fresh air. So just sometimes focusing on those really simple things to be really grateful for every single day is really wonderful, and can really help you, if you do it every day, look for things to be more grateful for. So that's a really great shift of mindset as well. So just thought I would bring to the forefront a couple of ideas of what we can try. What I will do, I'm just going to touch on an activity for us all to do. And pen and paper might seem a bit old hat, so maybe we can use the notes section in our phone, whatever you prefer. But what I'm going to recommend is that we just take a moment to write a couple of things down. So if you can just take a moment to get your phone out, or get your pen and paper out. And this is something we did in my team actually on Monday. And this is what I mean about Lloyds really living and breathing health and wellbeing, and bringing some wonderful ideas to all of our team activities, and bringing health and wellbeing to the forefront. So if you could just make a note, first and foremost, there's 3 things we're going to do. That's okay. Is list 3 things that make you smile. So that could be, for me, it's food. You might be seeing a particular theme here. Perhaps it could be getting out in fresh air. It could be pets or animals. So if you just take a moment to write down 3 things that make you smile. And then if we make a list next of 3 things that make you proud. So this could be something, maybe it's not something particularly recent, just something that you think, yeah, actually that makes me feel really good. It's something that I achieved or did, or I behaved in a particular way, or I got the A-level results that I wanted, or you give to charity. So maybe just a reflection there about 3 things that make you proud. And then moving on to the last section, if you think back to a particularly difficult time, if you list 3 things you either learnt, or 3 things that got you through that difficult time. So maybe that's a bit more recently. Perhaps you've taken up yoga this year to really just help settle yourself and ground you, or maybe you've taken up meditation or running or something active. Or maybe you learned something about yourself, that you are more resilient than you could ever have imagined with things that you faced. So yeah, that's the final one. So hopefully you've had a chance to write down against 3 things that make you smile, 3 things that make you proud, and 3 things you either learned or got you through a difficult time. And then what we'd like to recommend is that you keep that safe for perhaps one of your more challenging days, that you can pull that out and reflect on it. And just give yourself a bit of an energy and a mood boost by reading that and reflecting on some really wonderful things. So hopefully that's brought a little smile to your face today. What I'm going to do is just also, final comments, just talk you through some amazing information I came across only yesterday, and I'm going to need to refer to a piece of paper because there's too much for me to remember. But this is around how much support we've provided through COVID as an organisation. And I'm actually quite blown away by how we've reacted and what support we have provided our colleagues. So here's just a few stats for you and a bit of information to end on today. So I found out that we've provided over 1 million pieces of PPE to our frontline staff. So frontline being people in our branches, dealing face to face with our customers. So over 1 million pieces. Wow, that's so many. And we did a survey back in June, and 45,000 colleagues, so I think we've got 65,000 in total, but 45,000 colleagues said that 92% of them felt they had been really kept informed during this time through really human contact and lots of really clear, straightforward communication. So really pleased that they felt so informed and kept in the loop. And I think things like that really help with people's mental health, because I think if you don't really feel like you know what's going on, that's really going to provoke some additional anxiety and worry, etc. So really pleased with that feedback. We've actually also been able to offer free, that's a tongue twister, free flu vaccinations to all of our employees, which should really help in people feeling more confident that if they have the symptoms, they can differentiate if it is the general flu or if it is perhaps COVID. So really pleased that we've been able to offer flu vaccinations to all of our employees as well. And we've also been able to provide, so order and deliver over 100,000 pieces of office equipment. So that's anything from keyboards, chairs, mouse, you name it, we've been able to deliver it. And I think we went from 15,000 to 45,000 people being all of a sudden home based. So we appeared to deal with that at ease and in a really agile and fast way. So absolutely blown away by some of the stuff we've been able to do and how we've reacted during this pandemic. So that's just a few examples that I wanted to share with you today. I only found out about those yesterday, so really excited to share those and have that information with you today. So that was everything from me today. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I believe we're going to move on to a Q&A session.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Lizzie. Lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Lizzie.
Hello, and I'm from Rate My Placement, if anyone's wondering why I've just popped on the screen. So thank you so much. Really interesting. Loads of amazing things that you just don't hear normally unless you have a presentation like this where you can talk about them. And I think all those initiatives you just spoke about, brilliant.
Thank you, Lizzie. Yeah, it's a lot going on.
Yeah, definitely. And I think how quickly that you've adapted as well is key. With all those stats that you mentioned. So we've probably got about 15 minutes. So I've got some questions to ask you. And what I will say as well, please, anyone in the audience, if you want to ask any questions, pop them in the chat and then I'll keep an eye on them as well. So my first question for you. So yeah, you mentioned such a great place to work, really inclusive. So I just wanted to ask you personally, that how does it feel to work for a company that is doing so much to support their employees?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And we are talking more about, I guess, our feelings towards organisations. So for me personally, I found it really engaging. And I guess it really increases your emotional bond with the organization, when you feel cared for, you actually really care back. You really care about the success of the organization, and you feel really valued, and really human. It's been a very human year, and I guess there's probably some stereotypes about financial industry being really corporate and perhaps a bit old school and a bit stuffy, but the culture is not really like that at all. As far as I've experienced it, it's a very friendly culture. So yeah, it makes me a very happy employee.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. And I think that's such a good one you said about culture, because we often have on our virtual events, we have polls where we ask students in the audience, what are the most important things? And culture comes up always like the top, because the people around you, it's so important. So it'd be great just to hear, you mentioned the culture is really good. Could you just give us any more sort of tangible examples about why you think the culture is so great?
Really good. Yeah, that's a really great question. So in regards, we are actually a culture and values led organisation. So rather, some organisations have a competency framework, we actually have a values framework. So it's more around what behaviours are really important. And that's around inclusivity, caring, trying to keep things really simple. So yeah, I think it's a culture that is very friendly, where we do encourage people that they can totally bring their whole selves to work and be really authentic. It's becoming a lot, as far as my team's concerned, we are very experimental, which maybe sounds unusual because people think banks and they're very risk averse, and of course the number one priority is keeping people's details safe, etc. But we also want to innovate and drive new technologies. So there is this experimental lens at the moment, which is really fun, thinking of new ways of doing things. So give an example of that is we're being advised, go and experiment with how you want to have your working hours. Do you want to take a 2-hour lunch break? Do you want to log on at 8 and log off early? Do you want to log on at 10 and log off late? So it's this, that's one example of how we're being a bit more experimental and just trying out new ways of working, which is really exciting.
Yeah, it does sound really good. Lots of different things to, I guess, make you excited when you come to work. It's not just always the same, it's a bit different.
That's it. I think we need a bit of variety at the moment. So yesterday I had a very different lunch break and went and did a food shop on my lunch break and had that freedom in my diary to go and do things that I need to do for my work life. And really, I guess we've got a culture that really recognises the importance of that work-life balance. So we've got lots of interesting things going on in my team, and people compressed hours, for example, having every other Friday off and working longer in the week. People really mixing it up. So that's really fun as well.
Yeah, really good. And you mentioned lots of really good initiatives that you've been working on, and I was really enjoying listening to you talking about them, because it's always inspiring hearing other people talk about what they're doing. So I wondered, again, just in terms of all the initiatives that you've got involved in, which ones have stuck out to you and been your favourite, and why? Hard question, I know.
I'm really looking forward to this financial wellbeing going live. Ironically, so we usually have 4 pillars of healthy mind, body, relationships, and finances. Ironically, the finances is the area we've got least on with financial organisations. So we're like, let's make the most of it, and recognising, I guess, the backdrop of COVID. Although we've not lost many employees, in regards to redundancies, recognising that actually, in a joint household, their partner may be furloughed on a reduced salary, or their partner might have lost their job, or there's other pressures that perhaps aren't coming from Lloyds from a financial perspective. So I'm really excited for that to kick off, because we've even managed to get our HR director involved in having some of those conversations. And from what I can see so far, what's going to launch is different podcasts, I guess, almost going live and really educating people from a financial perspective. And I think actually it sounds a bit dry just talking about money, but actually if you can get more for your money, then how amazing is that? And thinking about making the most of what Lloyds has to offer. So we've got loads of flex benefits. Our pension scheme is incredible. I've got a staff mortgage, so I've got a reduced mortgage rate. So how can you actually make your money go further? So I'm really looking forward to that going live. That's definitely been the most exciting one.
Really good. And it just made me think, actually, one of my best friends, she works at Lloyds. She said that the benefit of the mortgage is amazing. So there we go.
Okay. There we go. If anyone out there is looking to buy a property.
I know. Brilliant. Okay, really good answers there. So I guess moving on a little bit to students in the audience who less think they're excited, they love what they hear, and they're thinking about what kind of opportunities can they get involved in at Lloyds. Do you know kind of a variety of kind of grad roles, student roles, and application windows, things like that?
Yeah, so I think that's coming up later in a later session today. One of my colleagues is going to be talking about the opportunities available, but there's things that you wouldn't even think about, like engineers and data scientists. So things that you probably wouldn't think you associate with the bank, you probably assume accounting and HR and I guess all the professional services roles, but there is a plethora of other opportunities. So I think that is coming up in a later session, or I can share a link in regards to what opportunities we have.
Oh, fab. Yeah, I think that's the best thing. If you've got a booth today, haven't you? So
yeah, one of my colleagues is manning that. So
amazing.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to know specific deadlines or opportunities, head over there and have a
absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. And then I guess you mentioned a lot about those top tips for well-being, which is it's really good to see, because sometimes you just take them for granted and you don't just stop. So I wonder, just from your own personal experience, which ones have worked really well for you and why?
That's a great question. So I'm actually known in my team as the Wellbeing Queen. So only yesterday I had someone in my team come for a bit of advice to, boost the mood. So I did touch on there about the cold showers. So it's actually known across like thousands of HR employees that I do that every morning. And I think it's like 10 seconds and it really does really boost my mood. So that one's great. I do a walk every lunch, so I'm trying to get my steps to 10,000 a day, so getting out and about. And we've actually started doing walking lunches as well. That's another experiment. So maybe get motion sickness if you're looking at someone, but that's great that we're really encouraging people to get out and about, because before you know it, you're stuck to your seat all day. So I think that's really good to get that fresh air. That really helps me. I meditate every day if I can. And I do practice gratitude. So I do write those things that I'm grateful for every day, because I think at the moment it's maybe easy to focus on the negatives. And I think gratitude is a fantastic way of trying to shift your state and recognize actually there is so much to be grateful for, even on your worst days, as I said. So that's a couple from me.
Couple of top tips. Yeah, no, it's really, really good. I guess it's probably one of the most stressful years this year, because everything's changed, and I can imagine lots of students in the audience are thinking, oh gosh, I've got to try and find a placement or grad scheme, and with the pressure of not being able to meet employers in the normal way. So it's really good to hear those kind of top tips to look after yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and all those things really play into your resilience as well. And it's all the really basic stuff that I always forget to reinforce, because they're a given, but actually getting your 7 to 8 hours sleep, eating the rainbow, as in all the different colours of fruit and veg. And I think people forget sometimes about those basics. And I sometimes am guilty of that. And I'm like, try a cold shower and gratitude. And I'm like, actually, if you haven't got the foundations right in regards to exercise, nutrition and sleep, then it's probably, not as valuable doing the other things, because you need to get those basics right. And I do forget to promote those sometimes. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on those as well for your resilience and your overall well-being.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so any more questions in the audience, let me know. Pop them in the chat so we can ask. So we've got a couple more minutes left. I guess it would be great to hear from your side as well. What really inspired you or attracted you to Lloyds in the first place?
That's a great question. And actually, what I was going to share today is a bit about my career history. So I've only actually been with Lloyds 2 years. Some of my colleagues have been here 35. Wow. So in regards to length of service, it is incredible here. people have been here most of their careers. So for me, I actually came in talent acquisition. So I used to do rate my placement events where I used to work, because I worked in emerging talent full time, which was great fun. In regards to Lloyds, it was just recognizing that their value in regards to their customers, so wanting to be the bank of the future. I really value innovation and that experimental mindset, so bank of the future was a big draw for me. Knowing that they're doing more experiments, so we've gone over to agile methodology where we're testing and learning things and learning really quickly and trying new things, which is great for me because I need that novelty seeking, new experiences every day and continuous improvement. I think being the UK's largest retail bank was a big draw, just having that heritage behind it. I guess that feeling really proud to work here as the UK's largest bank was a big draw as well. And the people, it's so friendly here, it really is. That was always great. And, it's the people that you meet in your interviews, I guess, are that key into the organisation. They were all just so friendly. And I could see that because of the size of the organisation, there was big growth in regards to my career. So that's what I was going to say next is I came in talent acquisition. As you may be able to tell, I'm really passionate about health and wellbeing, and there was an opportunity that came up and I jumped with both feet. So, and that was the reason I came here as well, was knowing that there would be so many opportunities to grow and develop.
Yeah, really, it definitely sounds like it, because you followed your passion and now you're a lot about well-being and top tips and things, so it's so good to share, because as we said, like sometimes you just forget about those.
Yeah, absolutely and really the fact I've already had a career move and I've only been with Lloyds less than 2 years says quite a lot about the range of opportunities you can get involved in. So yeah, so really pleased with that.
Definitely. And I guess one of my final questions, so if you're a student at the moment listening, you're thinking, what can I do to really impress? How can I get into Lloyds? Are there any sort of like top tips from you in terms of how can students really like wow you during the recruitment process, or kind of like what qualities you're looking for and to help them?
Yeah. First and foremost, I would definitely encourage that you are yourself. And it's about, I guess, having the confidence to really push what your strengths are. So I guess whatever makes you really unique, to absolutely shout about that, because we love the uniqueness of people. We love that diversity that we are trying to attract and the culture that we're trying to create at Lloyds. Number one is probably caring about our customers. So can you demonstrate that you have either cared about your stakeholders or customers in any of your other experience, or that you do care about customers and you can bring that passion with you to Lloyds? I'd say that's probably number one. And also just about having that experimental mindset, so trying new things but learning really quickly. So there's something called fail fast. It's about trying something. If it doesn't work, that's okay. You just learn really quickly and you try it again. And it's about that quick learning rather than berating yourself like, that went terribly. It's like, no, actually that's great. We can learn something. Let's move on and put that learning into practice with the next step. So there's a lot of that happening at the moment, but absolutely it's about customers number one. So
yeah, really good. And I love that point around failing, because I think sometimes, and people have said this before, we're set up in society never to fail, but then actually failing is absolutely normal. It's perfect. It's part of the
learning.
Yeah.
I've decided this year that life is one experiment now. I think that's what it's taught me, actually. Rather than bring that philosophy just to work, I'm grateful to Lloyds, I guess, helping me instill that experimental mindset, that I can go, actually, life is an experiment. If something goes wrong outside of work, actually, that's okay. What have I learned and how do we move forward? So I think if you can do that, then that really helps with your resilience and you're a bit kinder to yourself. So I think that's really important.
Well, great way to end. So thank you so much. What a brilliant, lovely, caring place it sounds like to work at Lloyds. So thanks for sharing all your stories. And yeah, I'll just say to the audience, if you've got any specific questions, please head over to the booth, and we'll wrap it up. So thank you so much again.
Thank you, Lizzie. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.